Let's get it. All right, all right, all right, all right. Can't play it too long because Instagram would take me off. They'll shut my live down. But anyway, we back for day two of how your silence is killing your relationships. And y'all, yesterday, if you were on yesterday, you know that yesterday was fire. Yesterday, I really talked about some things that all of you need to know about. And so if you did not see it yesterday, if you are on YouTube, it's on YouTube. If you are on Instagram, it's on Instagram. Now, if you are on Facebook, it's on Facebook, but it is not on TikTok. TikTok does not allow you to do that. So you have to go to the other platforms to see it. But tonight, we're going to jump into part two of how your silence is killing your relationship. So a lot of people inboxed me last night. I didn't realize that it had the effect that it did. But I'm glad. I'm glad. So for those of you who missed it, hey, go back and watch it because I promise you, it's going to bless you and it's going to help you if you use it, learn from it, and go from there. But all right, thank you guys. I am Coach Canion, aka the doctor, aka the professor. From say I'm not a doctor because I have a PhD or an MD. I am the doctor because when people come to me in pain, I get them out of pain. Big Mike, what's up, baby? All right, see you soon, my friend. All right, everybody else, like tonight, hey, Santa Monica, baby, how are you? You said my mouth's still on the floor. Okay. And if you missed it, you need to go back and listen to it because tonight I'm going to give you part two of it. And part two is going to be a continuation of the same fire that I delivered last night. But before we get into it, y'all know what I always like to do. I always like for you to share with me your name, first name, and where you're checking in from. Juicy Scorpion says it would fire. Thank you so much. Just by the inboxes that I got, it must be fire. Somebody says, name my top 5 books of all time. I would say, obviously, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. The Greatest Miracle Ever Told, the Greatest Miracle in the World by Og Mandino. There's a book back there called The Let Them Theory that is in my top 5 now, that has moved into my top 5. And I would have to think about the other 2. I'll think about the other 2 and I can give you an answer on those. But those 3 right now, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is up there too. I would say one of my books is The Power of Questions, The 7 Power of Questions, in my top 5 by Dorothy Leeds. Yes. All right, y'all, give me your name and your number. Danielle. Hey, Danielle, Santa Monica, California, Santa Monica, baby there. All right. Who else? Give me who else's name and where you checking in from. Hattie from Fort Wayne, Indiana, in the building. Nellie from Raleigh, North Kakalaki. Tracy from Illinois, in the building. We got Joyce, Dylan. Where you from, Joyce? We got Tracy no, I'm not from Rochester, but are you from Tracy? We got Riz from New York City. Kiana from Brooklyn, in the building. my man, Big Michael Hill from the A in the building. My guy, Donnie from Atlanta. My sister, your sister Sherry is on. Hey, Sherry. Sherry, you all with the Santa Monica baby. Katina from Texas in the building. Peaches from Chicago. Pete Wheat from Miami Gardens in the building. Thank you so much for joining me. Erica from Arkansas in the building. Let me see who else, because if I'm missing somebody, it's because they're going fast. I got all my platforms up. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube, join in with this conversation. We got Deborah from Louisiana, Andrea from Connecticut, Shelly. We got, well, Shelly, where you from? Louisiana in the building. Okay. Charlotte, North Carolina in the building. Sweet Lady Lux. All right. What's your name from Virginia? LaBetty? Is that you? Okay. Who else we got? I want to make sure that I acknowledge you, because you could be anywhere in the world, but you are here with me tonight, the coach. Okay. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is, and if I missed you, it's not because Alicia from Chicago, Casey from Lake Wiley, South Carolina. Hey, what's that? Joe Lachey from Jacksonville, North Carolina. All right, Shonda from Louisville, Kentucky. Thank you. Who else? Who else is in the building? Vanity from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Thank you. Alicia from South Carolina in the building. All right. So thank you for the rest of them. Carnita from North Texas and Lisa from New Jersey. So let's get busy. So yesterday, I told you guys about a story of one of my clients. And I told you about the story in this client who hadn't spoken to their mother for a whole year. And I explained to you what I told the client of not only, what's up, Corey? You watching the show right now? Oh yeah, my show is on right now. I'm watching it at 9 o'clock. Caught in the Act, Unfaithful. It comes on at 8 here on MTV. It is actually on right now, but I always record it and watch it at 9 so I can avoid the commercials. But after you get off, if you have MTV, you can watch my show, where I am the co-host on the show along with Tammy Roman. It's a great show. But anyway, tonight I want to talk about what I talked about last night. And I talked about my client, and my client hadn't spoken to their mother in over a year. Now they live with their mother, and they would have small talk. And what I come to find out was my client resented their mother because of something that the mother said. Now, what I come to find out also, that when the mother said it, the mother didn't quite mean it the way that my client took it. And what I also realized is that as I begin to explore and coach him, I realized that part of their internalization of the messaging came from their childhood, came from the way that they had been trained to communicate, came from the way that they had been trained to interpret messaging of people's communication. And what happened was, as I began coaching this person, I began telling him that the relationship with this mother was indicative of the relationship that he had with himself. And so what he did with himself was he avoided anything that was hard. And see, whenever we avoid the hard things, either because we don't know how to deal with it. All right, Donovan. All right. Glad you're there too. All right. Thank y'all for watching. So think about it, y'all. Our relationships with other people are a reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves. And I told him, I said, the one thing that you do is you avoid hard conversations with other people because you avoid hard conversations with yourself. And then I said, what you do is not only do you avoid hard conversations with yourself, is the other part is you project onto others what you believe about yourself. And so because you believe these things about yourself, you believe them about other people too. And so as we begin coaching, and I begin breaking down layer after layer after layer after layer of everything that was going on in his life. And I explained to him, I said, you're a poor communicator, and you think that you're a good communicator, but you're not. And you're a poor communicator, and I explained where it came from. But I said, here's what we're going to do to change it. And so I said, the one thing we're going to do is we're going to face the hard things. And I said, here's how we're going to do it. And y'all, let me tell you something. After a year's time, he had the conversation with his mother. And do you know, in 37 minutes, we destroyed a year worth of trauma, toxicity, and disconnection. And they have begun to rebuild the relationship. He cried like a baby. And he said, Coach, all I had to do was say it. I said, no, that's not true. I said, first you had to go within, do the work within, and determine the reasons why you needed to say it. And then you needed the strategies of how to say it. First, we need the why, and then we need the how. And so he called me back and said, I will never be like this again. And there are many. And so last night, I went over with many of you. Many of you have the same silence that he had. There are things, think about this, y'all. Somebody triggered you years ago and you just let it sit with you. You let the seed grow inside you. And you, because they triggered you, you don't ever say it, but you have a silent resentment towards them. And I went over yesterday the 3 reasons why it killed, and I'll go over them again. I'll just touch on them, but I'm gonna get into the second part of it. And then think about it, y'all. There are not only you're triggered by something somebody says and you don't say it, but what about this? You're in a relationship. It could be with your mother, your father. It could be with anyone. But you want them to do something. You have an expectation of them, or you have a need, but because you don't know how to say it, either you don't know how to say it, or you're afraid of how they're going to respond, what do? You just keep it. You just keep it inside. Y'all, this is not immune. This is not a gender thing. This is not man or woman. This is people. Because I realize I have been put in the position that I'm put in to restore people's relationships. Not just romantic, y'all. They could be with your sister, with your mother. It could be with your brother. It could be on the job. To restore the relationships. That is my mission, to restore relationships. And so tonight, what I want to get on is this right here. I want to talk about, first I'm going to go over the 3 reasons, the 3 silent killers, and then we're going to jump into it. Last night, I talked about the 3 silent killers of your relationship. And the first thing I talked about was the resentment manufacturing plant. Notice what I said, the resentment manufacturing plant. And what I said was, there are many times that someone does something to you, says something to you, but then you don't know how to say it, or you don't have the courage or whatever, and you don't say it, and then it becomes silence. But that silence leads to frustration, anger, but ultimately resentment. And then you resent the person because they never met your need. You resent the person because they've said something about you, done something to you, and you have not communicated it. And so this resentment turns into a seed that is planted inside of you. And then what happens is, and I went a step further, and what I said was, the resentment you feel, the other person feels the energy from you. They know something's wrong, but you never said what's wrong. And so that creates resentment in them towards you. And so now what we have is a resentment manufacturing plant. Both parties begin to resent the other party for different reasons. And then the disconnection in the relationships get further and further apart. And then I went on to say, the second reason it kills a relationship is what we call the mind reading fantasy. And the mind reading fantasy is simply this, is that most people make assumptions that the other person suggests, they should just know. They should know we've been together long enough. They should know that I'm upset because they know that I'm acting differently, and you want them to read your mind. You want them to figure out what it is you're thinking, and then you make assumptions. You assume that they should know. And I always tell people, I said, the truth is they don't know. The more you believe they should know, it means nothing. They don't know. And then I begin to say, I said, when you have the thought, when you believe that a person should know, it sets the relationship up for failure. And I ended that by saying there's the difference between assumption, which is silence, and agreement, which is spoken. You see, we cannot get to agreement as long as silence exists. And so, y'all, and then the disconnection begins to go. And so I want to say this to everybody out here. I said, there are things that you want to say to people. And some of you would rather the relationship dissolve. How many of you have ghosted somebody? How many of you have decided I'm going to disconnect? I just ain't going to call you no more. I'm not going to do it. You would rather than resolve it, you would rather just ghost. And that never, I always tell people, my people never, if you are my student, you can't ghost somebody. The only reason that you can ghost somebody is if it's toxic. Z said, as he the show on Tubi said, my decision, that's so good. Somebody said, the decision is so good, I want 30 more episodes. Well, you got more episodes coming up. So keep watching. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And then the last thing I said was the invisible wall of ambiguity. And I said that there is a wall created whenever you don't say it, whenever there's silence involved. And this wall is unsaid, unspoken. And what the wall does, it's really essentially a barrier. It is a barrier that keeps us from becoming connected or reconnected. And here's what happens with this barrier. Listen to what I'm about to say. Silence creates distance, not safety. And so a lot of times you feel like if I don't say anything, it's safe. But that's not true. It creates more distance than safety. And that's the misnomer. And what it is, you tell yourself, if I block the other person, then that will reduce conflict. But see, the truth of the matter is, it's not that there's conflict with you and another person. The conflict is with you. The reason why people block people, listen to what I'm about to tell you. The reason why people block people is because they have conflict within themselves. Blocking is simply a mechanism because you don't want to communicate with the other person. You don't want to tell the person that we're not in alignment. You don't want to tell the person that you want to move on. So what you'd rather do is you'd rather quell the internal conflict. And so you say, forget that. I don't want to do that. I'd rather block it. And so what you do is it is emotional protection. And what happens is a lot of people who block means you will forever have poor communication skills. I promise you. Y'all, a lot of people don't want to hear what I'm about to say because, yes, people get mad when you end it. But if you ended, I had somebody, one of my clients, I said, if you ended the right way, and somebody just said that's false. That's not false. It is not false. Because what it is, you convinced yourself to believe that blocking and ghosting is good. Because I don't want to deal with it. Now, what I say is blocking and ghosting is good when the other person or the relationship is toxic. If the other person is not toxic, then what it is you don't want to communicate that you don't want to go on. And so now the other person doesn't know. And what you do is you just say, I'll just block them. And so here's what I'm going to say. If someone is disrespecting you, then that's toxic. That's toxic. I'm not talking about that. But most times we block people. Most times we block people. The other person isn't toxic. The relationship isn't toxic. They may disagree with what you're doing, but because we don't have the communication skills or we don't have the emotional intelligence, what we do is we just block. We take, and blocking and ghosting is simply, we just do it because it's the easy way out. It is the easy way out. But the truth is, now when you get in a relationship that really matters, now you get in a relationship with somebody you love. Now you get in a relationship where you have to work through conflict. You have to work through the conflict. You have to talk through it. You have to communicate through it. Because you ghosted all your life, because you block people, you're not equipped with the skills that help you work through conflict. Y'all, this isn't because what we just do, we avoid it in the moment, but we're not equipped with the skills. And so here's what happens. And so I'm not trying to convince you that you need to be better at communication. For the people who are listening, the ones who know, this will resonate with you. The ones who it is for, fine. The ones who it's not and who isn't for, it won't resonate with you. All right? Yes, sometimes people need to be blocked if it's toxic. But if it's not toxic, they don't need to be blocked. You don't want to be blocked. What it is we are not equipped to have mature conversations. You don't know how to have it. But instead of admitting that I don't know how, or I don't want to deal with the internal conflict of, okay, there is tension. And so what I do, I'm just going to block and ghost. And so that's fine. But I want to tell you something. And then let me just tell you the root causes of silence. Why is it that you'd rather walk away than communicate through it? Why is it that you would rather ghost than communicate? Why is it that you would rather keep quiet, go along to get along? Why? Why do we do that? So let me explain it to you. There are 5 reasons, and it's all fear-based. And so they're all fear-based why we do this. And for those of you who want to hear it, I'm going to give it to you. The first thing is this right here. Is number 1, you fear conflict. The fear of conflict. Hey, Vay's Way said, I can't stand conflict. Yes, we fear conflict because conflict creates external conflict. External conflict creates internal conflict. Whenever you have to deal with conflict, what it is it's not the outer conflict that's bothering you. It is the inner conflict that you're dealing with. That's the part that you have trouble with. You see, the truth of the matter is the inner conflict, the part you worry about, we ain't gonna get along, this ain't gonna work, or what's gonna happen, they gonna blow up, I'm gonna blow up. Because you don't know, because the internal conflict is there, the internal conflict makes you believe that the external conflict is much more than you can bear. Oh, coach, you on fire tonight. You on fire. Now listen, and so what I'm saying is conflict is the number 1 reason we keep silent. Somebody say, you're going to be a pastor. I'm a minister of the gospel. I always tell God, this is my ministry. I love Jesus Christ. I am a man of God. I don't cheat on my wife. I always tell people I'm not an influencer. I'm not an influencer. I am an impactor. I just happen to have 5 million followers, not because I'm looking for clickbait, because I have a genuine heart that wants to help people. Number two, the second reason is fear of rejection. You see, the reason why you don't want to communicate what you want to communicate, the reason why you don't want to tell the person how they made you feel, the reason why you don't want to communicate your needs, your expectations, the reason why you don't communicate is because the fear that you might be rejected, the fear that the person might not accept who you truly are. The fear of rejection, and this is deep, y'all, because a lot of us have the fear of rejection when we were young. And what we will do anything to avoid somebody not being enough, not being worthy. And so what we do is we believe that the rejection is equivalent to our worthiness. And the truth is, it is not. If a person, and so what we do is, I would rather not say it. I would rather keep silent. I would rather keep to my, I would rather the seed grow inside of me than to verbalize it and let it come out of me. Because the thought of being rejected is overwhelming. Ooh-wee. Number three, the fear of being too much. See, a lot of times people don't say it because they think that I'm asking for too much. That, and you convince yourself this is just too much, so I will accept the breadcrumbs that people give me. I will accept this behavior because to expect more than what I'm getting is too much to ask. Even though I desire having it, I believe that it's too much. Someone has told me I'm too much. Someone has told me you asking for too much. Even though it is the thing that I want. Someone has told me my boundaries are too much. Someone has told me my expectations are too much. And someone has told me all of these things, but the truth is, you are not asking for too much. You are not too much. The bottom line is this, is that you determine your worth. Nobody else can determine your worth. Nobody else can put a stamp on you and say, I validate you. God validated you. God said you're wonderfully and beautifully made. God said it. God even said in the word, he talks about expecting things from him. If God said you can expect something from him, then how come you can't expect something from someone else? What it is social media, the world has made you believe that you're too much. The truth is, y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all something. I'm about to tell y'all something for real. Let me keep it a buck with you. To coach with me, it is not inexpensive. And someone asked me a while back, a few years ago, not now, a few years ago, why are your prices so expensive? And I said to the person, I said, my prices are not necessarily expensive. They're not expensive at all, actually, for my client, for the person I'm their coach. You see, here's the thing. My prices reflect my value. My prices reflect the value that I offer to the world. You see, the thing is, many of you have been made to believe that your prices, the price that you're wanting, is too expensive. So what you do is you lower your price to match everybody else. No, my value is predicated on the value that I offer, the lives that I've saved, the relationships that I've saved, the people that I call. And so what I tell people is this: if you believe that my prices are too expensive, it just means you're not my client. You're not my student. That's okay. Go find a coach who you coach in prices. See, the thing about it is my client can call me at 11:30 if they're going through a crisis. That's the value. That if my client, I've had a client who had a gun to their head, and the anointing in me helped them be alive today and married again, whereas before their wife was cheating on them. That's the value. But nobody determines that but me. I'm not worried about being too much for you will never be enough for the wrong person. You will never, see, what I always tell people, don't base your value on what someone else believes. And so the reason why we do that, and so what we do is we don't communicate. Because you believe that you're too much, because you believe you're asking too much, because you believe that what you have to say is going to ruffle some feathers, and what you do is you keep it in. And so here's what you don't realize. The more you keep it in, the more you resent the person, but here's the bigger thing. Eventually, you'll start resenting yourself. I said it again. Let me say it again. Eventually, you will start resenting yourself because you can't say it. And y'all, everybody that I coach, when I tell them, teach them how to do it, when I teach them why to do it first, and then I teach them how to do it, they all, to a person, they all say, I feel like the weight of the world is off of me. And so some of y'all are looking for relationship people that give you clickbait. Relationship people who simply reinforce what you want to believe. I'm not that person. There are people out there who want to talk junk about women, people out there who want to talk junk about men. I believe that everybody needs to level up. So I want to talk junk about everybody, including myself. If there is a part of me that needs to level up, y'all, that I told my wife the other day, I said, I gotta be better. I gotta be better in this area. I gotta be better. I'm not only a coach. I'm not only a coach. I'm a student too. I have two coaches. I want to be better. And so they're not inexpensive either. But I said, I want to be better. Number 4. The fourth fear of why we stay silent is the fear of actually getting what we want. Some of you are so afraid that, you know what? You might actually get it. You might actually get that great relationship, but then how others going to see you? You might actually get that job. You might actually begin making the money that you've always wanted to make, but then you're afraid. You're afraid of how they're going to see me, what are they going to think about me? And so what happens is fear of success is even more powerful than the fear, or just as powerful as the fear of failure. Because you think that your world is going to change. Then you begin pontificating and ruminating over what's going to happen to you. Okay, nobody gonna like me. My friends gonna think I'm thinking I'm all this and all that. So what you silently do is convince yourself that what I have is enough. And the Bible talks about the people with the multiple gifts who multiplied the gifts. The one who had the most gifts multiplied the gifts. And what God do? Give them more. They give them more. And then some of us want to take the gift that God gave us, and because you're afraid to communicate, you're afraid to let your light shine, what you do is you bury your gift. You bury what he said. What did God say? You lazy, slothful person. I gave you these gifts. I gave you this job. I gave you this education. I've given you all of this, and you were content with it, and you did not multiply it. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. There are somebody out there under the sound of my voice who is listening, and you know what I'm saying is resonating in your spirit. You know it. You know there is a part of you that needs to change, that needs to grow, but fear is gripped you. But the truth is this. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know this. When babies are born, babies have fears. They only have two fears when they're born. Do you know they have two fears? Number one, babies are afraid of loud noises. That's a fear that came with us, that comes with us. Number two, babies are afraid of heights. Those fears came. Any other fear you got, you learned along the way. Any other fear you have, you learned along the way. You have adopted it. And y'all, I've let go of the things that don't serve me. Y'all, and this year is about doing something big. In my academy, I am teaching my every person, every to a letter, every lady in my academy. And I'm telling them, each one of you have to pick a big thing that you want to do by the end of this year. And I'm walking with each one of them on this journey, and they are going to achieve something big, big. And I'm doing it too. And I told them the thing that I'm doing. And y'all, I ain't gonna share it here because y'all ain't in my academy. That's for family. If you get in my academy, you will know. But y'all just know this. This is what this is about. And last but not least, you keep things inside, you don't communicate because you fear the fear of losing something valuable. So you fear that if I say this, the other person might walk away from the relationship. You fear that. You fear that if I say this, I might lose my job. If I tell my boss what I'm feeling, I might lose my job. If I tell my partner how my needs aren't being met in a relationship, they might leave me, or I might lose the relationship. I might lose my job. I might lose this or that. The truth is that if you learn how to communicate in a way that I'm going to teach you, not only will you not lose anything, but you will gain. You will gain a lot more. You will gain the wherewithal to communicate through anything, even the tough stuff. You'll gain a person on the other side who respects you even more so. Now, I didn't say they're going to like it at first, but that's why you have to, number one, learn why to do it, and then number two, learn how to do it. And so then you gain a relationship that is open to communication, meaning that our pathways, our communication pathways are open now. And so if you've never had that, y'all, it's a scary thing at first. One of my clients said, look, coach, I cannot believe this is happening to me. And most of us, and many of us, you don't know what a thing looks like if you've never seen it. You don't know what something looks like if you've never seen it. And many of us have never seen a positive relationship with positive communication. Many of us have never seen people work through conflict in a way that they don't resent each other. They're not yelling at each other. They're simply both stating their point of view. And even if we don't agree, we agree that the other person's opinion is valuable. We agree that the other person's perspective matters. Even if we don't agree, but most of us have never seen that. You don't know what that looks like. So you just assume everything is toxic. You just assume everything is filled with trauma. And so what I want to do is teach you something different. I ain't about, look, I always tell people, I ain't about clicks. I'm not about, followers. I ain't about all that shit. I'm about people's lives changing. That's it. That's all I care about. Yeah, that is all I care about. And when I told you that my prices are expensive, they are. And the reason they are is because of the value that I offer. I cannot put a value on somebody's life. I cannot, and I will not do it off a cheap price because I just want people's money. I will not. If I cannot change your life, I don't want to be a part of it, period. And so you got to start thinking about that. Y'all stop thinking that you're too much. Stop thinking that the value that you offer is too much. You got to get to a place of get around people and say, you know what? I am valuable. Not because I said, because the creator said it, because he said it, because he said it. And so Coach Ken gonna keep doing what he doing. I'm gonna keep doing what I do. I got all my platforms up. Some of y'all can't see the other ones because they're on different platforms. And what I will say to y'all is this: there is a part of you, some of you, that you want to change, that you want something different. This year, you want something different. And so what I'm gonna say is that if you're interested in something different, and maybe I can help you. Maybe you can get in my academy, because you can't get in unless I let you in, because anybody just can't get in. I have to make sure that you're ready to change. And most people aren't. That's okay. That's okay. But one day you're going to say that I am. And I'll be here when you say it. I'll be here. I'll be here when you say it. Okay? And so for those of you, who might be interested in joining my academy, email me at coachkencanion@gmail.com and say, hey, coach, help me. I'm ready. I need help. And I always tell people this. I said, let me tell you something. The most important relationship, and it don't have to be just you want a relationship. It could be that you want a better job. I always tell people I'm not a relationship coach. I'm a personal development coach who focuses on relationships. Y'all, long before I was coaching on relationships, the reason I started coaching on relationships is because me and my wife almost went to divorce court. But y'all, I'm a personal development coach. At the end of the, oh, thank you, Liz. Liz said worth it. I appreciate you, Liz. But if you're ready, yes, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you your comfort. It's going to cost you your money. It's going to cost you your time. It's going to cost you your effort. But here's what I say. On the other side of all that is what God's got for you. Is what God's got for you. And so for those of you who are ready, I ain't got nothing to say. All I want to say is if you want to, maybe we could see. Email me at coachkencanion@gmail.com and say, Coach, I'm ready. I need help. And if you don't email me, that's cool. I'll see you on the next live. But if you are ready, and you in this year, you want to do something different, you want to be something different. Y'all, I want to be something different. In my academy, I told the people in my academy, I said, listen, y'all, I said, this is what I'm doing this year. This is what I've been working on. Y'all don't know it, but I'm a student. I said, I'm a coach, but I'm a student. I gotta be the example for y'all. I gotta show you what a man of integrity looks like. I gotta be a good husband. I gotta show you, because if you ain't never seen it, you don't know what it looks like. I tell all my ladies in my academy, I got to be the first one to show you what a man of integrity looks like. A man who's willing to say I'm wrong to my wife, to my kid, to my grandkids. I got to show you what a man who's driven looks like, who achieving stuff. I got to show you what that looks like. If I don't show you what that looks like, some of you have never seen it. I got to show you what it looks like when I ain't talking about somebody else, y'all. I ain't got time to talk about somebody else. I'm out here doing. If you don't know what it looks like, then you won't do it when you see it. So anyway, y'all, that's my time. That's my time. I'm going to go watch my show. We recorded it. For those of you who want to watch Unfaithful Cardiac, check it out. It's on MTV. But look, y'all, thank you. We're going to get it. Thank you. All right. For those of you who are interested, email me at coachkencanion@gmail and say, Coach, I need help. All right, y'all. Peace. I'm out.